in your seats. Ladies and gentlemen, we're about ready to kick this thing off. United We Style 2018. And in order to do so, please welcome to the stage a woman who is more than just a woman. She's a force of nature, ladies and gentlemen. She organized this whole damn thing. Put your hands together for Miss Kara Kemp.
Come together in your seats, everybody. Thank you all for coming out to join us for the 5th annual United We Style. I'd like to thank Chris Hires for allowing us to come into his venue again, and I'd like to thank the Murfreesboro Electrical Department for actually giving us electricity about 45 minutes ago. I'd like to thank Johnny Gowow and his Japanese cowboys for tickling the ivories in your earbuds this evening. And Mr. Mark Lamb for shaping our stories and for tickling your ear memories tonight. So tonight, we have a show that is about coming together in hairstyles and in our hearts. And you know, when I think about the Beatles and I think about how we come together, I think of a bar. So congratulations, you're already there. I, of course, like to do a little toast. So if I could get you guys to raise your glasses. I'm gonna keep this one G-rated because my nephew's in the house and he is drinking water. Yes? Thank you. So here's to the people that come together for a night of the Beatles, love and laughter. May the stories be wise and the tears keep from your eyes until you're able to tip your bartender. Yeah. So please remember, you're going to be listening to some stories that have only been repeated in bathrooms, bathtubs, in cars, and spoken by themselves to people speaking to themselves for months. So if you could keep your own personal stories to a minimum, that would probably be pretty helpful for these folks up here. I would also like for you to welcome our first round of stylists up on stage. Can you give a big round of applause? Have 6 different salons that are represented up on this stage. You have What's New Salon, you have Rooster's Grooming Center, you have Tangerine Salon and Spa, you have the Social Chair and Dry Bar, you have the Paul Mitchell School, and you also have Urban Images, which is right down there. So, if you're ready, you want to settle in, I'd like for you all to give me a little love me do, huh?
Come together right now over me. Love me do. You know I love you. I'll always be true. So please.
Love me. Whispering out between the fence posts of 325 acres of stars and dirt on that forgotten Beech Grove highway. See, I was the youngest of 10, but I grew up the youngest of 3, and, well, actually, I'm the only one of my litter. So I spent a lot of time building a relationship with those stars and that dirt, taking that mud and filling in those cracks that I was lacking in recognition of self-worth and camaraderie. See, I was bred for farm labor. And I sprouted tall in that rich soil planted by a family of doers. Now, not doers for the sake of forgetting the present, but for building towards the future. Boundary pushers, creators, dreamers with one foot on the ground. My dad grew up in sharecropping poverty in Smith County, and he built his way to a master's in education on a GI Bill and one head of cattle at a time. My grandmother forged her life out of the Great Depression and repurposed every scrap of fabric she owned until it disappeared into a threadbare fabric poof. My mom even sang her way to a college scholarship via county fairs and radio competitions, and made her way as a single mother of 3 girls on a teacher's salary. That's right, that's hard work.
Love me do, you know I love you.
My mom had to fight for her survival from the very beginning. She fought for her way into this world with 8 doctors overseeing her delivery, and choices being bandied about the delivery room as to who should be saved, mother or child. My grandmother fought for her own life while giving birth to her daughter. And what a wildfire she bore. Once my mom was set loose on this world, there was no containing her. That's right. So needless to say, my mom did not raise any shrinking violets out on that farm out there in Beech Grove. Heaven help her, she was given 3 girls as different as chalk and cheese. The wise, patient starer. Go ahead, wave your hand there, Lori. The clogging tomboy Barbie. You know who you are. And the cartwheeled crazed sassy pants. All facing this world with our fists up and our wildfires blazing. Woo! Yet no matter the varying pattern of our personalities, our mom and grandmother affirm that we should be true to who we are. Be kind while you're doing it. And absolutely don't shrink. But it's hard not to wither when you're searching around in that dirt for your worthiness. I force myself to bloom through cartwheels down the sidewalk and dancing down the grocery store aisle. Pigtails, a red romper, and my hands on my hips, posturing to be my own superhero, tethering my Wonder Woman lasso of truth around my sisters, and keeping just enough slack in the line to ensure it doesn't snap. Using my superhuman strength to ensure that my daddy will see me in the way I want to be seen. And finding my accelerated healing powers in a tribe of women and laughter, card games and banana bread, in cinnamon toast and Captain Kangaroo, and run around outside until you wear yourself out, young lady, or I will tan your hide. Today, there are no more hides left to tan or things left to hide. Just breathe slow, stop running, and be still. A girl can be anything she wants to be, right? Be strong, be soft, be worthy. Don't shrink. Standing on that precipice of the choice to bloom or shrink back into that soil where we are planted. It's that moment when you stand out there with your petals stretched out, fully facing the sun, that you expand out to the best version of yourself. It was in that moment of my full expansion and vulnerability, and stillness, the big magic found me. Or perhaps I allowed myself to be found. Big magic started cutting a row to be planted deep within that soil of female-dominated farmers. Somewhere between the rows of, I can do anything a man can do, and he will never hurt me that way ever again. A crisp fall night and casual introduction was dismissed to maintain a relationship that was intangible, comfortably unavailable, and absolutely leading nowhere. By mid-December, the holidays of love were in full bloom, and I had grown weary of trudging that relationship behind me like a stubborn mule in the quicksand. Stranger introduced himself on Facebook. He said a mutual friend had told him I was a good theater coach and he was in need of some coaching. Well, lacking in time and caught between the holiday hustle, I begrudgingly agreed to coffee in a few weeks. Coffee in a few weeks, he thought. Surely she does not know who I am. While I thought, coffee in a few weeks? Surely he does not know who I am. Coffee finally percolated. I noticed in the steam over his latte his pleasant demeanor and how interesting he was and how tall. I made suggestions for plays to audition for. Plans were made to send info. We'll be in touch. And as I crossed the parking lot in my pencil skirt, a cool winter wind ran up my spine, and I thought to myself how nice he was, and perhaps handsome. Auditions led to celebratory dinners. He had landed the lead role in a play and had never even seen one before. I thought, clearly, he is gonna need some more coaching. Coaching led to casual, inspirational conversations. Conversations with full-on eye contact. Conversations where the laughter was not forced. His jokes were actually funny, and his vulnerability engaging. Life experiences were shared without an emotional guard post to hop through. Big magic started to get planted in my thoughts more than I cared to admit. Life experiences just kept pushing us together. Things that had been on the books for months fell through like my grandmother's threadbare fabric poof. And opportunities to say yes to big magic kept rolling in. Don't shrink. A beach trip with my girlfriends for months fell through, and big magic whisked me away to the Gulf and the Paradise Motel. Now that motel was far from paradise. But that golden moon on the water seemed to be painted just for us. And I did a cartwheel in the sand for fun rather than show. A trip to Africa fell through, and without skipping a beat, Big Magic said, well, come along with me, I'm going to Kenya. Thank you, Johnny. Somewhere between the patience required for foreign travel, lost luggage, and being a lost girl who never got lost, I started to believe that the universe was conspiring for us. And then a conversation revealed that we had manifested each other before we ever knew that each other existed. We sang out all the same old country standards by heart. And our broken pieces began to meld together in the offbeats of the impromptu dances in the kitchen. So now, I am standing in the uncloaked nakedness of knowing I am worthy of love. No longer shifting to squeeze in those pantyhose of what I don't want versus what I think I want, or even what somebody else told me I wanted. Giggling myself to sleep at night as his silliness tries to squeeze out one more joke out of those Alabama pines. Or the turned over, stomach cramping, can't breathe giddiness of his triumphant pride in putting the dishes in the dishwasher. Standing on the last edge of missing my mama and finally feeling complete without her physical presence in my life. Watching her wildfire smolder while I hear her laughter in my memories without being haunted by my tears. From laying down her fighting gloves so I may use my hands to build something towards the future with my sisters of chalk and cheese. Picking out all those places of mud so that I can admire my blemishes for their life lessons, and finding my voice in the shadow of my fears and digging those feet in at all the appropriate moments so I may plant something useful, one fence post at a time. Planting those rows. Ooh. Eventually, we all come together if we stand in front of our fears rather than behind them and operate from our authentic design. I am from awareness and movement and learning to be an introvert. Trying, it's a struggle every day. I'm from being fine using too many farming metaphors and still cursing too much for emphasis, damn it. I'm from pushing boundaries, being creative, and dreaming with that one foot on the ground. From love rather than rightness. From blooming rather than shrinking. Love me.
Love me do.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you.